wings. It helped me explore, new opportunities, explore myself. And that's really kind of where I built the confidence to become a businesswoman.
And how did you begin to explore yourself?
Well, really identifying my strengths and my weaknesses, right? So what were some of my strengths and then what were some of my weaknesses? For example, um, my strengths were I was very creative and I love to figure out things. So if something was broke, like in the house, I was always the one trying to figure out how to fix it and make it better. And this mentor of mine, she helped me realize that, okay, I had a knack for kind of seeing things differently and finding
Mm.
solutions. And because my mom was an entrepreneur, that also contributed to where I am today because I looked at her business, what she was doing, and when we were younger, we, myself and my brother, we would go. She owned a boutique, and so we would go in and we would help her from time to time. And I liked that process, and I saw some things that she were doing, and I thought, and then after she had to dissolve her business because of some bad business practices, she wasn't an accountant. She didn't know all of the things that we know today, and so she had to dissolve her business. And when I think I was 21 when I started my first business. And really that's where it kind of started. And my mentor helped me explore, becoming a businesswoman, but also becoming more extrovert. And so she coerced me into joining Toastmasters. And that's really where everything started for me.
Interesting. So, what was the best thing you got out of Toastmasters?
Learning how to listen, speak, and communicate. The biggest thing in conversation is more than just being in that conversation. You really have to listen. If like for me, when I go out and network, I network with intention. So I listen to people, I listen to conversations, and that direct me to where I'm going to go and introduce myself to a person or to a group. So listening was really the biggest thing that I would say I took from Toastmasters.
Mm. What is one major guiding principle in your life?
Just do it.
Just
Just do it. Um, I've learned from experiences. When you have an idea, you have a dream or a vision, the longer you sit and think about it and ponder over it, someone else is thinking about that same idea. And for me, when I my first business, I used to design and manufacture women clothing, particularly after five wear and couture. And I had a partner, and I was the designing, the creative force behind the company. I one day allowed her to take my drawings for the upcoming season. She said there was a entertainer. I won't mention her name, but there was an entertainer who was very interested in my designs, and she wanted me to design her wardrobe for her tour. Well, she asked if she could take my um, portfolio to show her, and I reluctantly did that. I allowed her to take it, and lo and behold, this woman who I thought was my friend and my partner, she actually She and her husband were in the process of moving to Florida, did not share that with me. She took my book after weeks of trying to reach her. She took my portfolio. She ended up landing the deal with that entertainer, and I saw my designs on the music award show. And so from there, I just said, okay, going forward, I won't share all of my ideas, and I'm just going to do it. So whenever I come up with an idea or something I want to do, I create my strategy, my approach, and then I engage. I do what I want to do. I do what I have to do, should I say? You know, so it's just do it. And I'm the same way with my family. My family is my rock, and I am able to do the things that I am able to do today because of my family. So I would say, you know, aside of, you know, my mantra, just do it. I would say my family would also be my guiding principle.
Hmm, interesting. How do you foster greater innovation when you have all this guidance, when you have this family, which is this rock? How do you take those tools that you have or those things that you have and use that to kind of add more to your business?
So because I'm a family oriented person, I involve my family in just about everything that I do. And when I have ideas, I like to sit down and talk to my daughters about it and get their feedback, their ideas. Um, and then once I feel really comfortable and confident about what I've come up with, then that's when I begin the whole implementation, putting all the resources in place um, to launch. Like for example, um, let's just take my business for example. I just acquired another company, and it took me some time before I did that. One, because I need to do research, but then two, I wanted to make sure that it was something that I could differentiate myself or the company from our competitors. And so I involved my daughters, who are now also partners in this venture. And um, I'm always thinking, and I will tell you, my greatest creativity is between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. in the morning. And that's when I'm up and I'm really being very creative and being very productive with whatever projects I am working on. That's my creative time.
Well, why are you so creative? Where did this creativity come from? I think you've mentioned before you're an introvert, and I know introverts tend to have a lot of things they do behind closed doors. Maybe it's art, maybe it's some type of artistic thing. Were you fascinated in something that kind of harbored a lot of this creativity in you?
You really, and that's a very good question. And the only thing I can think of at this moment is the time for example, as I mentioned, my first company, when I was 21 and I launched my fashion business. I've never gone to fashion school to learn how to draw, to create patterns, or to sew. I was really self-taught, but I was inspired by my mother. The idea of wearing an outfit that I knew some of my other friends were not wearing in school, that really intrigued me. I like the idea of being different, of wearing something different. And so from there, she bought me my first sewing machine. I was 7. And then she would take me to a fabric store. We would buy fabric and sketchbooks, and I would just sit there for hours after school. When I come home, homework, and I'm sketching, drawing, and sewing. So it really started at a very young age, and then with that creativity from the fashion side, it was the business side. Like my mom, when I started my first business, I made a lot of mistakes. And had I known what I know today, then I would have been much successful, much more successful than I am today. But I ended up having to dissolve the company. And it was from that the bug under me to figure out ways how to not just make myself successful and build a successful company, but also to help others do that as well. Find out what are the challenges and then what are the solutions. And then I start incorporating and building products or services to address those problems, those pain points that business owners have. And really, that's just kind of how my flow goes.
What were some, I think you kind of mentioned it before. When I say failure here, I'm not necessarily referring to failure with the big capital, but maybe more of the lowercase f. Um, what are some specific
I get it.
failures, some small scale failures that led to success in your life, and how'd you overcome?
Well, I'll revert back to my previous mention, which was my first business. That was my truly biggest failure because I didn't take the proper steps and learn the proper processes and systems to being a business person and being a businesswoman and operating this particular type of business. And so as a result, I got this nasty letter from the IRS. I'm like, what is this for? Like I didn't know I was supposed to pay taxes, right? And they caught up to me. And so I ended up having to dissolve my business after 6 years. And that was a hard learned lesson for me. It was a very expensive lesson for me. But that is, I would say, my great failure. If we're talking about on a smaller scale, hiring the wrong people. And I say that as a part of my failures because when you don't have the right team in place and you're bringing people in just to fill seats because you need work done, and you're just putting a band-aid on the problem. And by doing that, I ended up hiring a couple of people that really did not have me or my company's best interest at heart, and it cost me a lot of money. It cost me a lot of money, and so I say hiring the wrong people was a failure for me because I didn't again take the time to really vet them, interview them the way I should have. It was a referral, and I said, okay, great, I need you. Taught them how to do the job. And it was a disappointment. And so from that, I learned, and like now I have a great staff. I took the time to interview them, to learn them, to do my research. And I got a really good solid team this time.
Mm. And what are some of the biggest tips you could probably give to people out here on how to build a solid team?
Wait, can you repeat that?
Yeah. What are some tips you could give to people on how to maybe build a solid team?
A solid team. Um,
Yeah.
know what your needs are, right? So know what your needs are. If you need a marketing person, like for me, I put pen to paper all day long, all the time. So I have a piece of paper and I'm thinking about my org chart and what areas I need support in. Then I determine, okay, or do I need them internal or external? right? Because if it's something like marketing, I will hire someone externally, because there are a lot of virtual providers that you can hire at really a fraction of a cost of actually putting someone on your payroll and having a successful outcome with that virtual provider. So that's what I have done. So I use both internal and external. So just depending on what my needs are and the level of responsibilities will determine if I need them internal or external. But then also the experience is very important. I know some companies, will hire people, but then train them. And that's okay. But you still want someone to come in with some level of skill sets that they can contribute to your company. Like this most recent person that I hired, I actually hired her for as a certification specialist, but she had very strong marketing skills as well. And so that really helped me, because now she's taken on the role of not just being the certification specialist, but also maintaining all of the social media, our ads, and everything that has to do with procurement. And so I don't have to hire someone outside to do that, because that's something that she can do in-house. So that has worked very well for me. I love SWOT analysis. If your audience are not familiar with SWOT, STARS stands for SWOT, not SWAT. And SWOT stands for strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And this is a tool that I like to use all the time. I use it when I'm trying to make decisions, when I want to bring out or introduce a new product or service, or when I'm interviewing people. I like to use a SWOT analysis, because that helps me identify the person's or the scenario's strengths, weaknesses, threats, and then opportunities. And then I can start building kind of my strategy or approach from there. So when you're building a team, I would say, hey, do a SWOT analysis. Make sure that you do your due diligence and research the person before you actually interview them, and make sure you hire someone that has some level of skill sets and other skill sets that can contribute to the company.
So how do you use the SWOT analysis to compete or to formulate strategies that can compete with your competitors, if you have it?
So, for example, you have your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So you're going to list all of, if you're doing it for your company, you're going to list all of the company strengths. And then you're going to list all of the company weaknesses. And then with the strengths, how can you capitalize on those strengths? And if you have weaknesses, how do you counter those weaknesses? And really, I like to hone in on the weaknesses, because you're taking your weaknesses and you are conforming them into becoming strengths, right? So if you have your competition and you're looking at, okay, what are they doing for marketing? Where are they? Who are they marketing to? You're really looking at your competitor's approach, but then you're looking at your weakness and seeing, okay, if my competitors are very strong with their customer service, but on my SWOT analysis, I'm showing weakness there. Okay, what do I need to do to turn this weakness into a strength and become more competitive than my competitors with their customer service? And me, I do a lot of research. So I really, how can I say, I really dive into the analysis of examining my competitors, all the way down to the type of language they use in their marketing, the type of posts they use when they're doing social media, all of those things. And I know some people are not, that's just maybe kind of boring to them, or something that just may be too technical. But for me, I think as a part of success, you have to know who you're competing with. And if you want that competitive advantage, you have to know what your weaknesses are and what your competitors' weaknesses and strengths are, and then figure out a way how to capture some of that market share that they are holding on to by using your SWOT analysis.
Hmm, okay. Can you give kind of an example of this, maybe when it happened in your time as an entrepreneur, maybe we could now begin to talk about Wadeco and how maybe you dealt with a competitor in that industry that Wadeco is in.
So Waco, I like
Wadeco.
to say
Okay,
is
apologies. Wadeco.
Waco. No, no worries. I like to say Waco is I don't uniqueness to our business center. Our competitors are the SBDCs, your scores, women business centers. Those are my competitors. And because I've worked with both the SBDCs, the small business development centers, and your scores, I know where the holes are. I know what their weaknesses are, what they can and cannot do. And that has really helped me in developing the type of services that I have. And then for those competitors that are doing one or two providing one or two of the similar services that I'm providing, I always try to figure out how can I make it better, right? So for example, with regards to procurement, I offer a service that I know no one else does, and that is RFP extraction. RFP extraction is where we take an RFP, because this is one of the big deterrents for a lot of vendors. They don't, a RFP can be anywhere from 5 pages to 160 pages. And that can be kind of overwhelming. Even 20 pages is overwhelming for most people because there's a lot of language in there and people just get deterred by reading. And so what we do is a client will come to us and say, I have this RP that I'm really considering bidding on this project, but I just don't have time and I don't want to have to go through these whole 160 pages. So we go through and we have a system that automatically extracts information and provide only the important information that vendor needs to prepare a proposal and make a decision if they want to move forward with that scope of work. And I've done research through all 50 states looking at people that are consultants in procurement, and no one does that. So that is something that is unique to Waco.
Okay. And, you have a bachelor's in organizational management. I don't know what university that's in. You could probably add to that. Apologies. But my question more so is, you seem to be a very technically oriented person. Did that disposition come maybe from your university experience? Where did that come from?
I think it really from a combination of both. Just self learning, motivation, and from my formal education. So it's a combination. Excuse me. It's a combination, but I think for the most part, it's just a fascination of fixing things, fixing companies. And I'm not going to say fixing people, although I do coach and work with the business owners. But really, my fascination is the business, right? The all of the nuances that most people don't like to deal with. Like I said, the research and doing the SWOT analysis and the strategic planning, all of those things. That's what I prefer to do, and I hire people to do the other things. So I just think it's just a combination.
So how do you kind of integrate your principles into kind of your company's vision, mission, and values?
Because honesty, ethics, fairness, all of those things are part of our core values. So it's like when I'm hiring people, I try to bring in people that will be a good fit for the family, right? So one of my companies, it is literally a family-owned company. But then with Wadeco, this is where I'm hiring people, and have to they have to have the same core values that Wadeco represents to be a part of Wadeco. In my interview, there are some questions that I do ask. So I have a list of questions that I ask to really help me determine if this person is going to be a good fit for the family.
Okay. All right. Good answer. So the next question I kind of have is, what are the services that your business offers?
So Waco is a supplier diversity business center designed for suppliers and vendors that are interested in becoming contract vendors with government entities, school districts, universities, utilities, corporations. So we have a slew of services that are curtailed specifically for the procurement industry, which includes certification. So we are a third-party certifier where we help companies get certified as a minority business enterprise, woman-owned business enterprise, disadvantaged business. There's a lot of acronyms that I can go down, but we cover all of them, including the EDW WOSB, which is a federal level certification. We also offer contract management. We have a service called Search Agent, and the Search Agent service is specifically designed to do nothing but search for contract opportunities for our clients. And with any of those 5 areas, government, corporation, utilities, universities, or school districts. And we're also nationwide. Excuse me. So we are able to service and support companies in any of the 50 states.
Okay. Okay. So I ask this for all of my clients that provide coaching services, but I'm going to ask you the same question. What are some of the best success stories that you have for your clients? And how did that affect you on a personal level?
Okay, so there is this one, there are many, but this one particular client, excuse me, she and her partner had really been struggling and with their new company, and they just had so much turmoil in their both personal and business lives. And I mean, it was like one funeral after another. And it was like that. I mean, literally one of the partners, they had a funeral. It's like, is it 3 years ago? She had 4 funerals within 6 months. And it really hurt their business because they were so focused on family and didn't have time to grieve. Their business started going down. So I came across an RFP, and I, just called them up and say, hey, listen, this RFP came to me and I wanted to see if you guys are interested in providing these products. And she said, well, kind of, I really don't know, because we have so much going on right now. I don't think we'll have the time or capacity to do it. I said, well, let's just try. So we did. I helped them put together the proposal. They won the proposal. It's for the state of California. They won the proposal. It was a $13 million deal that they won. And that was to see them, they literally broke down in tears in front of me because they were so happy because they had won this opportunity, but also because it was a life changer for them. What I did not know at the time was one of the partners was in the process of losing her home, where she and her kids were going to be homeless. And the other partner, she had lost her car, and she was the one that had the four lost her 4 family members. And so being able to provide or to give a resource that I have to help someone else the way that it had helped them, that was the most rewarding opportunity for me. And I'm feeling emotional because there are a lot of other back end things that I did not know at the time that they didn't share with me that was happening. And after I learned that, I realized why they broke down and how that opportunity was a life changer for them and their family. So that was one of my greatest success stories, I would say.
So what would you personally prefer after I heard all that, I'm thinking now, what would you prefer? Would you rather do what you love, or would you rather do what you're good at?
Do love.
Mm.
Because if I do what I'm good at, it just becomes a job. But if I do what I love, that's my passion, that's my heart, and I'm going to put everything into it to, and I'm a win-win, thinker, right? So it's not, I don't look at life as it's about me. For me, it's about the people that I engage with. And so because I love what I do in helping people and changing people's lives, it's not a job to me. It's something I look forward to waking up every day and doing and being. Yes, it's stressful. It's very stressful, but because I love doing what I do, I don't have plans on retiring anytime soon.
Okay. So again, this has been an amazing interview. I definitely learned a lot, especially the SWOT analysis and everything else. But what advice could you give to someone that probably wants to start their own business?
Think about not just what you're good at, because that's something technical, but think about what you're passionate about, because it's that passion that's going to show through your delivery and your engagement, how you engage with customers or clients, how you um, you know uh, structure your foundation, how you set up your infrastructure, how you create your business model. All of that is going to flow through, and people will see the passion and love that you have for what you do and for being a service provider, right? And so doing what you're passionate about. And the other thing that I want to say is really think through. Don't just jump into the water, because a lot of people have this notion that it's so easy to start a business. And it is. It's easy to start a business. It's harder to run and grow a business. But at the same time, when we're talking about starting a business, there are so many elements to starting a business. Most people want to go from A to F, from F to S, and then from S to Z. That's not a smart way to starting a business. You want to go all the way through the line, A through Z. You know, for me, I like to do things in phases, and are 3 phases in starting a business or running a business in general. You have that start phase, right? Where you're the planning, you're thinking about your branding, your company name, your logo, putting together your business plan. And then you have your the run, right? And so the run part is the phase 2, where, okay, I've done all of phase 1. I've got everything set up, my logo, I have capital, I have all of my resources, I have my network. And then you can start the implementation and the engagement process. That's the run. Then you have the grow. That's the third leg. The grow is where, okay, you got all of these done. Now you're about year 2, year 3. Now you're focusing on new products and new services, expansion, bringing in new partnerships, leveraging those partnerships. So you have the start, the run, and the grow phase. So if you really think about starting your business or building your business, I would say build it in those 3 phases.
Well, I'm curious too, this is more of a personal question I have for you, but what's the future? Where is Connie going to be in the next few years after this? What other goals do you have in mind?
So I am planning on expanding to Atlanta and New York, and I'm thinking about Texas. Not really sure yet, like going on there, but definitely I'm thinking about Atlanta and New York, expanding an office and a presence there. Although we are nationwide, we're starting to see a larger presence of clients from those areas, and so we are planning on opening up an office there in those 2 locations and hiring people. So job creation is very important to me. So I want to be able to create jobs and help communities where I can. And so really, yeah, that's where I am. And really, I want to take Wadeco global. That's the goal, is to get out there, reach more people. We have a goal of every year we try to process at least 1,000 certifications. So that means we are certifying 1,000 companies, minorities, and women's every year. And that's a hefty goal, but so far we've been able to meet that challenge.
If you could go back in time and speak to your younger self, what would you say to her?
Interesting. I ask myself that all the time. Um, slow down.
Hmm.
Slow down, Connie, slow down. I have a tendency, as I mentioned, that, just do it. And sometimes that just do it mantra can get me in trouble. So I would just say, Connie, step back, rethink. If I'm thinking about my first business, rethink your steps, your strategy, your approach. I have 4 daughters. I love them dearly, but I think the younger me would have said, okay, finish college. Although I did at a later stage, but I would have finished college, and I would have pursued my business ventures. But I think I would have saved myself a lot of heartache, a lot of huge, expensive learning experiences. I would just slow down. I would slow down.
Hold on. All right. So thank you again, Connie. This has been an excellent interview. I definitely enjoyed it. Um, how can we reach you? And additionally, any last words you'd like to say to the audience before I let you go here?
I would just to share with your listeners, if they are not familiar with business business enterprise certifications, procurement, I would really encourage them to look into it, because especially for minorities and women, because there is a lot of opportunities, and you have the government have put forth so much capital, so much money aside for women and for minorities to capture some of these contract opportunities. You know, like I mentioned, the my one client where I and that was one of the largest one we did 3-4 years ago for $13 million. And we're still, there's a stigma with the government, and particularly with contracting. Well, I'm just here to tell you it's not there anymore. The system has changed, and it has changed in a better way for women. You're always looking for new opportunities, new markets, right? And this is a new market. This can be a new customer, a new opportunity for you. If you think about, and I like to use this analogy, if you sell nails and your goal is to, earn, let's say, $200,000 in 1 year, you're going to have to sell a whole lot of nails individually to get $200,000 in sales, versus if you were to get a contract with, let's just say, with the County of Los Angeles, their welding department, you can reach that $200,000 with just one contract, and you're just supplying a bucket of nails, right? And so the opportunities are real. They really are there, but you have to be committed to the process. But the opportunities are there. Look for new markets, look for new opportunities, because they are there. You can reach me at cSparks@WADECOBC.com. Our website is WADECOBusinesscenter.com. And our telephone number is 661-753-3379. And we're also on social media, Wadeco BC.
All right. Thank you for being on the show, Connie. It's been a privilege. Thank you all for watching. This is the Jimbo Paris Show. I'll see you next time. I'm currently working on a passion project that I'm really excited about, but I need your help to bring it to life. We'll be launching soon our very own Jimbo Paris Academy. This is going to be about aspiring creators and creating concepts. Thank you for your support. I'm sharing free bonus content to supporters. So let's make some amazing content together.